Two founding fathers who built the league, then tried to destroy each other. A rivalry so old it predates the forward pass. So vicious it's written in blood. So consuming it shaped professional football itself. And yet, for all the championships, all the Hall of Famers, all the decades of dominance, neither team could ever kill the other. This is the story of the NFL's oldest war. August 1919, a dingy automobile dealership in Green Bay, Wisconsin. Curly Lambeau walked in with a dream and walked out with $500 from the Indian Packing Company. The team would take their sponsor's name. A team was born in a town of 10,000 people. A franchise that, by all logic, should have died before it took its first snap. Meanwhile, 200 miles south, George Halas was building something bigger. A Navy man, a baseball player, a football visionary who saw the future of professional sports and decided to own it. He founded the Decatur Staleys in 1920, moved them to Chicago in 1921, and renamed them the Bears in 1922 after the city's baseball team. Halas stood before reporters and declared, "If baseball players are Cubs, then football players must be Bears." Both men were pioneers. Both were obsessed with winning, but only one could control the league they were building together. Their first meeting came November 27, 1921. The Staleys crushed the Packers 20-0, a statement game. Halas wasn't just winning, he was establishing dominance. But Halas wasn't done making statements. The next season, he reported the Packers to the league office. The accusation: Green Bay had used college players in an exhibition game, a violation of league rules. The penalty: franchise revocation. The Packers were kicked out of the American Professional Football Association. Their dream, dead before it could breathe. Lambeau appealed, begged, paid a $500 fine and a $1,500 entry fee he didn't have. The league reinstated the Packers, but the message was clear. Halas had tried to murder the franchise in its crib. The rivalry wasn't just born, it was weaponized. Through the 1920s, the Packers struggled. Near bankruptcy became an annual tradition, until local businessmen, the legendary Hungry Five, formed the Green Bay Football Corporation, a public ownership model, the only one in professional sports. It saved the team, but more than that, it trapped the franchise in Green Bay forever. No owner could sell. No businessman could relocate. Lambeau responded to near death by building a dynasty. He signed Johnny Blood McNally, Cal Hubbard, Mike McKelskey, Hall of Famers who turned Green Bay into a powerhouse. From 1929 to 1931, the Packers won 3 straight NFL championships, the first team to ever accomplish the feat. Halas watched his rival thrive and seethed, but Chicago had weapons of their own. In 1925, Halas signed Red Grange for $100,000 and took the Bears on a 17-game barnstorming tour across America. Grange was the first football superstar, the man who made professional football legitimate. He filled stadiums. He sold newspapers. He made the NFL matter. And he belonged to George Halas. The 1930s became a championship arms race. The Packers added Don Hudson, the receiver who revolutionized the forward pass, Clark Hinkle, Arnie Herber, title after title. But the Bears had Bronco Nagurski, the fullback who played both ways and hit like a freight train. They won championships too. Every time one team rose, the other answered. The games grew violent. In 1924, the Bears' Frank Haney and the Packers' Tilly Voss became the first players ever ejected from an NFL game. They'd started with words, ended with punches. A referee stood between two heavyweights and realized professional football had a violence problem. In 1936, during a 30-3 Bears blowout, a Packers fan named Emmett Platten couldn't take it anymore. He sprinted onto the field and punched Bears lineman Ted Rosequist, knocked him out cold. Security dragged Platten away, but the incident made headlines across the country. Fans weren't just watching this rivalry, they were living it, and the violence was only beginning. By 1940, George Halas had a problem. His Bears were talented, but they weren't dominant, not like the Packers. So Halas did what Halas always did. He revolutionized the game. Halas and offensive coordinator Clark Shaughnessy introduced the T-formation offense. The quarterback moved under center instead of standing in shotgun. The fullback and halfbacks shifted into new positions. Blocking schemes changed. Passing lanes opened up. Sid Luckman became the first modern quarterback, and the Bears became unstoppable. The 1940 NFL Championship showcased the new offense. Bears 73, Washington Redskins 0. The most lopsided game in NFL history. A statement so loud it echoed for decades. The Packers had to adapt or die. But adapting wasn't Lambeau's style. He believed in power football, the run game, brute force. The Bears had embraced the future. The Packers were clinging to the past. In 1941, both teams dominated their division. The Packers went 10-1. The Bears went 10-1. They met in the NFL Western Divisional Playoff, the first postseason showdown in rivalry history. Chicago won 33-14, marched to another championship. The Bears weren't just winning, they were suffocating Green Bay's dreams. The 1940s belonged to Chicago. 4 NFL championships in 7 years. The monsters of the Midway crushed opponents with Luckman's precision passing and a defense that made quarterbacks pray for mercy. The Packers stayed competitive, won a title in 1944, but they were living in the Bears' shadow. World War II nearly destroyed both teams. 45 Bears players joined the war effort. Halas himself left coaching to serve. The Bears almost merged with the Cardinals just to field a team. Green Bay lost dozens of players too. The rivalry paused while America fought a bigger war. But when the soldiers came home, the hatred reignited like it had never left. After the war, Lambeau tried to recapture glory, but age was catching up. His championships felt distant. His methods felt outdated. In 1949, after 30 years as coach and founder, Curly Lambeau resigned. The Packers spiraled into mediocrity. 11 straight seasons without a winning record. Green Bay became a punchline. Meanwhile, Halas kept coaching, kept winning, kept reminding Wisconsin that Chicago owned them. The 1950s weren't kind to either franchise. The league was evolving. New teams, new strategies. The old guard was fading. The Packers and Bears, once titans, became afterthoughts. They still played twice a year, still hated each other, but the games felt hollow. Then Vince Lombardi arrived in Green Bay, and everything changed. Lombardi was a dictator in a fedora, a disciplinarian who believed in repetition, precision, and pain. He gathered the team on day one and said, "I want it understood that I am in complete command here. No smiles, no debates, just compliance." He inherited a 1-10-1 disaster and turned them into champions in 3 years. Lombardi converted Paul Hornung from a Notre Dame quarterback into a devastating running back. He built an offensive line around Jerry Kramer and Fuzzy Thurston, creating the famous Packers sweep, a blocking scheme so perfectly executed it became unstoppable even when defenses knew it was coming. He found a quiet, unassuming quarterback named Bart Starr and turned him into a Hall of Famer. But more than tactics, Lombardi changed the culture. After losing the 1960 NFL championship to the Eagles, Lombardi gathered his team and made a promise. "This will never happen again. You will never lose another championship." He wasn't lying. The Packers won 5 NFL championships in 7 years. They dominated the first 2 Super Bowls. Green Bay became title town. And every time they played Chicago, Lombardi reminded Halas who ruled the league now. Across the rivalry divide, Halas coached into his 70s, refusing to surrender. His team struggled through the 1960s, but they still showed up twice a year to punch the Packers in the mouth. These weren't competitive games. They were wars of attrition. Every snap felt personal. Every tackle carried decades of resentment. The 1960s Packers had Ray Nitschke, the linebacker who played like his life depended on every down. They had Jim Taylor, the bruising running back who refused to go down. They had Bart Starr, the cerebral general who executed Lombardi's offense with surgical precision. They were a machine, unstoppable, relentless. But machines break down. Lombardi retired after the 1967 season. His replacement couldn't fill the void. The dynasty crumbled within years. On the other side, Halas finally retired in 1967 after 46 years of coaching. The league had changed. The Bears hadn't. They cycled through coaches, searching for the next Halas. They found only disappointment. For 2 decades, the rivalry lost its luster. Both teams wandered through the 1970s and early 1980s with flashes of competence surrounded by stretches of mediocrity. They still played twice a year. They still hated each other. But the hatred felt performative. 2 old warriors swinging at ghosts. Then came November 23, 1980, Soldier Field. The Bears destroyed the Packers 61-7. Not just beat them, humiliated them, pulverized them. Bears coach Neil Armstrong kept calling blitzes in the fourth quarter, running up the score with ruthless precision. Packers coach Bart Starr, the same Bart Starr who'd won 5 championships under Lombardi, charged across the field after the game. He found Armstrong on the sideline, his face red with rage. Armstrong later recalled the confrontation with clinical detachment. He did the talking, and I did the listening. He said he'd rather not hear what I had to say, and he left. Starr was furious. Armstrong was unapologetic. The rivalry, dormant for years, roared back to life. The Bears were building something special. Chicago in 1985 was a city possessed. The Bears weren't just winning, they were annihilating opponents with a swagger that bordered on arrogance. Mike Ditka, a former Halas player turned coach, built a defense around middle linebacker Mike Singletary, defensive end Richard Dent, and a cast of killers who suffocated offenses into submission. Walter Payton, the greatest running back of his generation, controlled the ground game. And Jim McMahon, the mohawk-wearing, headband-flaunting rebel quarterback, embodied the team's chaotic confidence. Before their playoff run, the Bears recorded the Super Bowl Shuffle, a rap song about winning the championship they hadn't won yet. It was audacious, reckless, perfect. But their most beloved weapon wasn't a Hall of Famer. It was a 300-pound defensive lineman named William the Refrigerator Perry. Ditka started using Perry as a fullback in goal line situations. Perry scored touchdowns. The crowd erupted. The phenomenon became a national story. The Fridge wasn't just a player. He was a symbol of Chicago's dominance and their complete disregard for conventional football. The 1985 Bears finished 15-1, steamrolled through the playoffs, destroyed the Patriots 46-10 in Super Bowl 20. Greatest single-season defense in NFL history. A team so dominant, they made football look easy. The Packers, they went 8-8 again. Mediocrity was suffocating them. Before the 1985 season started, the Packers had played a preseason game against the Bears. During the game, someone in the Green Bay organization decided to prank Chicago by placing horse manure in the Bears' locker room. A childish gesture. A declaration of pettiness. The Bears didn't forget. The revenge would come a year later. November 23, 1986, Lambeau Field. The Packers were losing, again. But defensive tackle Charles Martin decided to make his own statement. He wore a towel with a hit list. Specific Bears players' numbers scrawled across the fabric. A public declaration of intent. Late in the game, Bears quarterback Jim McMahon released a pass and stood watching downfield. Martin sprinted toward him, grabbed McMahon from behind, lifted him off his feet, and body slammed him into the frozen turf. Long after the whistle, long after the play ended, McMahon's shoulders separated. His season was over. He writhed on the ground as teammates surrounded him, as officials threw flags, as Lambeau Field fell silent. With the collective realization of what they'd just witnessed. Martin was ejected and later suspended, but the damage was done. McMahon would never fully recover. The Bears' Super Bowl hopes evaporated. Chicago's offense, built around their volatile quarterback, collapsed without him. The Packers had struck a blow, but it was a Pyrrhic victory. They finished 4-12 that season. The Bears won the division despite losing McMahon, and the league, already concerned about player safety, came down hard on Green Bay. The hit became synonymous with the rivalry's ugliest instincts. The incident revealed something deeper. The Packers were so desperate to compete, so consumed by decades of losing to Chicago, that they'd resorted to violence. They couldn't beat the Bears on the field, so they tried to cripple them instead. The late 1980s saw both teams struggling. The Bears' Super Bowl window closed. Payton retired. McMahon never regained his form. Ditka's teams stayed competitive, but couldn't recapture 1985's magic. The Packers cycled through coaches and quarterbacks, searching for an identity. Don Majkowski showed flashes, but flashes weren't championships. Then, in 1992, Green Bay made a trade that would alter the rivalry forever. They acquired a second-string quarterback from the Atlanta Falcons, a gunslinger from Mississippi with a cannon arm and a reckless streak. A kid who threw interceptions like he was trying to set records and touchdowns like he was trying to break the scoreboard. His name was Brett Favre, and he was about to make the Bears' life miserable for 16 years. Brett Favre didn't play quarterback like a technician. He played like a linebacker who accidentally ended up under center. No fear, no hesitation, just pure, unfiltered aggression. He threw frozen ropes into triple coverage. He scrambled when he should have stayed in the pocket. He made throws that defied physics and decisions that defied logic. But it worked. Favre led the Packers to the playoffs in his first full season as starter. By 1996, Green Bay was back on top, Super Bowl 31 champions. Favre won 3 consecutive MVP awards. The Packers were relevant again, and they were destroying Chicago. Favre's record against the Bears became historic. 22 wins, 8 losses, and .733 winning percentage against a division rival. He turned Soldier Field into his personal playground. Lambeau Field became a frozen nightmare for Chicago quarterbacks. The Bears couldn't stop him. They never could. By the time Favre retired in 2008, for the first time, he owned Chicago like no quarterback in history. His 22-8 record became the measuring stick for dominance. But the Bears had their moments. The 1980s monsters of the Midway faded. The 1990s brought mediocrity. But in 2006, Chicago found life again. A vicious defense led by Brian Urlacher and Lance Briggs. A hard-nosed running game. A quarterback in Rex Grossman who was just good enough to not lose games. They won the NFC North, made the playoffs, stayed competitive against Favre's Packers despite never quite matching their firepower. Then came 2010, and the game that would haunt Chicago forever. The Packers, now led by Favre's successor Aaron Rodgers, limped into Week 17, needing a win to make the playoffs. Their opponent, the Bears. Green Bay won 10-3, punching their ticket as a wild card. What followed was a postseason run for the ages. Rodgers dismantled the Eagles 21-16 in Philadelphia. Then came Atlanta, the top seed in the NFC, and Rodgers threw for 366 yards in a 48-21 demolition. The reward? A trip to Soldier Field, the NFC Championship, against Chicago, for a spot in the Super Bowl. The Bears had home field advantage. They'd beaten Green Bay earlier that season. This was supposed to be their moment. It wasn't. B.J. Raji's pick six sealed a 21-14 Packers victory. Green Bay went on to win Super Bowl 45 against the Steelers. The Bears went home, eliminated by their rival twice in 1 month. But the rivalry wasn't just about quarterbacks. It was about culture. The Packers represented small-town America, a publicly owned team in a frozen city of 100,000 people. No billionaire owner, no corporate boardroom, just shareholders who loved football. They wore cheeseheads, foam hats shaped like wedges of Wisconsin cheddar, and packed Lambeau Field in sub-zero temperatures. Tradition mattered. History mattered. Winning mattered more. The Bears represented big city swagger, Chicago's blue-collar identity, Ditka's mustache, the Fridge's touchdown dives, the Super Bowl shuffle. They played in Soldier Field, a stadium named for war veterans, and treated every game like combat. Their fans sang, "Bear down, Chicago Bears," and celebrated like they'd already won. 2 philosophies, 2 identities, 100 years of mutual loathing. And then came October 17th, 2021, Soldier Field, the moment that crystallized Rodgers' complete ownership of Chicago. The Bears fans had been heckling him all game, shouting obscenities, questioning his talent, celebrating every incompletion like a Super Bowl victory. Late in the game, Rodgers scrambled out of the pocket and rushed for a first down. As he got up from the tackle, he turned to the heckling section, spread his arms wide, and shouted, "I still own you! I still own you!" The crowd fell silent. The cameras caught everything. The moment went viral within minutes. After the game, Rodgers stood at the podium, smirking. When asked about the comment, he shrugged and said, "Sometimes you just get caught up in the moment." The Bears had no response. They couldn't. He was right. The 2010s saw both teams cycling through coaches and playoff disappointments. The Packers remained competitive behind Rodgers, but couldn't get back to the Super Bowl. The Bears hired Matt Nagy, who brought offensive innovation but couldn't solve the quarterback problem. Mitchell Trubisky, Nick Foles, Andy Dalton, Justin Fields. None of them could match what Rodgers did every Sunday. Chicago made one more run in 2018. They traded for pass rusher Khalil Mack, a defensive monster who single-handedly altered games. The Bears finished 12-4, won the division, made the playoffs, looked like contenders. But they couldn't beat Rodgers, not when it mattered. Week 1 of the 2018 season, Rodgers left the game in the second quarter with a knee injury. The Bears led at halftime. Green Bay's season looked finished before it started. Then Rodgers limped back onto the field in the third quarter, threw 3 second-half touchdowns. The Packers rallied from 20 points down to tie the game. Rodgers stood on the sideline afterward, grinning like he just pulled off a heist. The Bears lost, again. Years earlier, during a rough stretch, Rodgers had leaned into a microphone and told Packers fans, "Relax, we're going to be okay." He was right. As long as Rodgers wore green and gold, the Packers owned Chicago. But time catches everyone. By 2021, Rodgers' relationship with the Packers front office had deteriorated. Contract disputes, philosophical differences, rumors of trades. For the first time in decades, it seemed possible that Green Bay might lose their stranglehold on the rivalry. If Rodgers left, the Bears might finally have a chance. Then Rodgers stayed, won another MVP, kept beating Chicago. The 2022 season brought change. Rodgers struggled. The Packers missed the playoffs. The Bears drafted Justin Fields and saw flashes of potential. For the first time in 20 years, Wisconsin fans felt nervous. But even a diminished Rodgers was enough to beat Chicago. The dominance was so complete, so generational, that Bears fans stopped expecting victory. They just hoped to stay competitive. In 2023, Rodgers finally left, traded to the New York Jets. The Packers handed the keys to Jordan Love, a quarterback drafted 3 years earlier who'd barely played. The Bears had Justin Fields entering his third season. The balance felt like it might finally shift. Week 1, Packers at Bears, Soldier Field. The oldest rivalry renewed with new faces. Jordan Love threw for 245 yards. The Packers won 38-20. The more things changed, the more they stayed the same. The rivalry didn't need Hall of Fame quarterbacks to sustain itself. It didn't need championships or playoff games or iconic moments. It just needed two teams who hated each other more than they loved winning, and that would never change. Through 103 years, 2 world wars, a Great Depression, and countless roster changes, the Packers and Bears kept showing up twice a year to punch each other in the mouth. They'd shared the same division since 1933, played more games against each other than any two teams in NFL history, created legends who defined professional football. Curly Lambeau and George Halas built the league, then tried to destroy each other. Vince Lombardi and Mike Ditka turned coaching into warfare. Brett Favre and Aaron Rodgers made Chicago fans dread game day for 30 years. The Bears won 9 championships. The Packers won 13. Neither team could ever land the knockout blow. In 2024, both franchises stood at a crossroads. The Packers searching for their next dynasty. The Bears searching for competence. But something was different this time. Jordan Love, the kid who sat behind Rodgers for 3 years, wasn't just filling shoes. He was making the position his own. In his first full season as starter, he threw for 4,159 yards and 32 touchdowns, led the Packers to the playoffs, showed flashes of something Wisconsin hadn't seen since Rodgers' prime, a quarterback who could carry the franchise for the next decade. Meanwhile, Chicago finally made the move they'd needed for 30 years. They drafted a quarterback first overall, Caleb Williams, the Heisman winner, the generational talent, the kid with the arm strength to make every throw and the mobility to escape pressure. For the first time since the Jim McMahon era, Bears fans believed they had their guy. The 2024 season became a statement. Both quarterbacks exceeded expectations. Both franchises glimpsed their future. Then came 2025. Jordan Love entered another season as starter with confidence. The Packers' offense hummed. Green Bay looked like contenders again. Caleb Williams stepped into a rebuilt Bears roster with weapons around him and a coaching staff designed to maximize his talent. Chicago wasn't just competitive, they were dangerous. And twice a year, they still met to punch each other in the mouth. This wasn't Favre versus mediocrity. This wasn't Rodgers demolishing backup quarterbacks. This was different. Two young quarterbacks in their prime. Two franchises ascending simultaneously. The rivalry, dormant through years of lopsided matchups, roared back to life with legitimate stakes. Brett Favre and Aaron Rodgers made Chicago fans dread game day for 30 years. Now Jordan Love and Caleb Williams were writing the next chapter. Two quarterbacks who could dominate the NFC North for the next decade. Two franchises who've defined each other for a century, locked in an endless war neither can win and neither can abandon. Some rivalries fade, some lose their intensity, some become relics of a different era. This one just got younger, faster, more dangerous. The oldest war in professional football wasn't ending, it was being reborn.
On the fake, Williams looking, throwing, it is intercepted! Keyshawn Nixon and the Packers will win it! On the fake, Williams looking downfield, launching downfield, going for it all! It is caught! Bears win it! DJ